What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. We just finished up the AFC East draft grades. Click the link down below to watch the previous video. The IG's 26559 podcast, that will be linked down in the description below as well. Today we'll be doing the NFC East draft grades. So let's get into it. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're new, please click that big red subscribe button. If you're returning or new as well, please like, comment, and share the video. Comment what you want to see next, what you would do differently, what I should do better, what you think about your team or your opponent's team. And let's get into it. And let's start off with the New York Giants. Like I said before, the first team that you see will be the division losers, and the last team you see will be the division winners. And all in between will be the ranks, so on and so forth. I gave the New York Giants a B grade. I think they had a really good grade. I think their draft was really good. And then I also thought they took a lot of reaches, of course, the guys that the coaches love. But let's start off with pick 5th overall, Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. He was my number 1 prospect. Gave it an A+ grade. Fell. I thought he was going to get taken at 2, 3, 4. Fell to 5, fell no more, A+ grade out of Oregon. He's the best prospect I've seen since Jadeveon Clowney. And I think he's going to be the uber productive guy that, he was, that Jadeveon Clowney has. I think he's going to be the sack machine. I think he's going to be the productive guy. I'm willing to bet. I'm willing to bet shop on this guy's hitting in New York. So I gave it an A+ grade. I can see him going for 10 a year for the next 15 years, 10 sacks a year for the next 15 years. And then pick 7, the second pick in the top 10, they take Evan Neal out of Alabama. I was hoping either Kayvon or Evan fell to Seattle at 9. They snag him up at 8. I'm at 7, A+ grade. Evan Neal is my number 1 left tackle, or my number 1 tackle in general. Him and Icky were really switching for a while back in March and April, but towards draft time, I had Evan Neal on number 1, A+ grade. I think he's the Orlando Pace that we've been missing in this league. Just this dude that you're gonna feel at left tackle. He's gonna look 6'7", but he's gonna feel 7'10". Like he's gonna feel like you're standing against a wall out there. And I think that this is a great pickup, A+. He's going to pair great with Andrew Thomas. Pick 43 in the second round, Wan'Dale Robinson out of Kentucky. Really quick, speedy, gadget receiver, but you just took one in the first round last year. And you take another similar guy here in the second, early second, if I might add. So I gave it a C+ grade. I think he's going to be a great gadget guy, great special teams guy as well. He's going to be a guy you can line up in the backfield like Tooney, slot. Nothing wrong with having 2 of the similar guys, but I thought you maybe should have gone with a corner or safety here. I like the corner and safety rooms, but I think that they do need to get younger. I think they do need to find people, and I do think they need to move a couple veterans over the top before season starts. Pick 69 overall, Joshua Ezeudu. I hope I didn't ruin that name. Out of North Carolina. I see him as a guard. This is probably one of their coaches' guys. Taking him in the 3rd round this early. I gave it a solid D. He's not a top 25 interior offensive lineman for me. Just like Cordell Flott, taken at pick 81, the next pick we're going to be talking about. He's not a top 25 corner for me, taking him this early. Out of LSU, he was probably their 3rd best corner in my opinion, 4th even, to some of these young guys they got on the team. And just not going to talk too much about these 2 guys. They're not really that high on my board. Ezeudu is not in my top 300, but Cordell is. But Cordell's not in my top 250. So I had him. I probably had Ezeudu not even marked in my as draftable, but I had Cordell in that 6-7 range. So gave it a D and D+ respectively. Daniel Bellinger out of San Diego State is a good tight end pickup. I feel like the New York Giants, moving off Ingram has you know, been maybe not the best move, but taking a shot at a guy, cheap value in the fourth, a little bit higher than I had him. I had him 5 to 6. So I gave it a C minus grade. They probably felt like this guy was one of their guys that they were going to really be able to mold into their own. So I think that's why they took him here this in the fourth round. Give it a C minus. Dane Belton out of Iowa. I only gave it a D minus because there's so many better corners, so many better safeties they could have taken. No disrespect to Dane Belton. He's doing things a lot better than I could have. But a little bit less of an impact guy. Wasn't the super athletic guy that you saw when you saw Iowa's defensive players play out. I know when I'm watching their film. Gave it a D minus. This is probably a guy they think that they can mold like Daniel Bellinger. This is a young team. This is a team that is very moldable to a new team. So, a young coaching staff. So let's see what they can do with these guys. Michael McFadden out of Indiana. This is okay value. I had him 6 to 7. I give it a solid C because I think that linebacker is a big need, but I think the guys they have now are going to do a feasible job. If you're taking linebacker, you probably should have taken one in the third round with one of your third round picks. You wait all the way to the fifth and you take a shot at a guy that's probably going to be a special teamer for the first 2 years, but you could develop into something. You just never know. Pick 147 in the fifth round. DJ Davidson. I gave it a B minus. Nose tackle from Arizona State. Like I said, if you could get a big run stopping, big body guy to just eat space in the fifth round and up, that's great value. I'll give it B or plus. Pick 173, Marcus McKeithen out of North Carolina. I guess they're just sticking with the North Carolina guys, pairing them up again. I think this is a better value pickup than a Zudu. I think they're about the same value, but compared to pick 69 and 173. If Izudu's taken here, probably give him a C minus as well. But that high early up, I just didn't like it. There's so many. Lasitas, Darian Kennard, all these guys are sitting there, and you take someone who's not even, just for me personally, isn't even in my top 300. So at pick 69, just not my cup of tea. And then one of the biggest impact guys for them, who I had a third to fourth round grade on, Darian Beavers at pick 162 in the sixth, who I think is a world above Micah McFadden, who's a whole nother tier above Micah McFadden. Taken here in the sixth round, A+ pick, really helps boost this back end where it got a little weak in the middle of the draft for them to boost that B grade. But Darian Beavers is really good, really downhill thumping linebacker that played for Cincinnati, really good defense. They had a bunch of dudes come out this year. He just fits the mold of a 3-4 middle linebacker, and he plays it very well. And he's going to come in, and I think he's going to battle for a starting job. I think he's going to beat out Micah McFadden easily, and he's going to beat out whoever's there as their number 2. Give the Giants a solid B grade as the first division losers in the NFC East. Oh, going with the Washington Commanders here. They had a pretty good draft. I had to look back at it a couple times, and I definitely had to regrade it a couple times. So let's go with Washington Commanders with a B minus here. I do have them beating out the Giants. I just don't see the Giants doing anything this year. I got them on a B minus because of a couple coaches picks here. But let's get into it. Jahan Dotson out of Penn State at 16 overall. I gave it a B minus. I definitely would have went with a little more size per taste for me. In the top 20, maybe even top 25, I like to go with a little bit more size. If you don't, if I have guys higher value that are a little bit undersized, like Olave and Wilson, who are both under 200 pounds, just like Jahan Dotson. They just played a little bit of a higher level for me. So that's why I graded them a little bit higher. But Dotson at 16 is a still B minus grade. Fills a need at number 1 receiver. Super, hyper aware of the ball when it's in the air. Great hands, maybe the best hands in the class. Great route running, really smooth. I just wish they went with a little more size. That's why I dropped it from, a B plus to a B minus grade. At pick 47 in the second round, Fedarian Mathis out of Alabama. He's a pure defensive tackle, big dude. Gave it a C plus. I had him anywhere from the early third to the early fourth as where he went. So in the early second, like this, early to mid second, C plus grade is right where I had him. I was willing to give him a B minus because I like Fedarian a lot, but I just think right now, especially with that incredibly deep you know front seven that they got, that defensive line they have in particular, it's going to be a little bit hard for a guy that high draft value getting up there. I wish they took an offensive lineman or even a quarterback at this pick, but they went with Mathis, and they'll take their quarterback, who I think is really good, who's my number two, who I'll talk about later on. But Fedarian Mathis, C plus, who I still think is really good. Pick 98, Brian Robinson out of Alabama, B minus grade. I'm a Brian Robinson fan. I think he's a lot shiftier and he has a lot more upside as a long play 3-down back than people think. Bama backs are just made different. It took Damian Harris 3 years to finally catch on. I don't mind if it takes Brian Robinson 4 years to catch on. I'm willing to wait on a guy that's 6'1", 220 pounds, that has receiving upside, has the long speed, and is a great balance in between the tackle runners. I see a little bit of Le'Veon Bell in Brian Robinson's game, a little bit more lower body strength. Le'Veon Bell in Brian Robinson's game, B minus grade. We'll really see what he does. The only reason why I bumped it so low to a B minus is because Antonio Gibson is a really good receiving back. Pick 113, I had Washington taking, I had him. They took Percy Butler, safety out of Louisiana, Raging Cajuns. But personally, I don't like him at all. He's not a top 30 safety for me. I would have went with definitely one of the bigger guys that I can move around, like a Sterling Weatherford, or a couple other guys like the kid out of Florida A&M, the really big dudes like 6'4", 230 pounds. I like big, strong Cam Chancellor safeties, or the small Earl Thomas rangy safeties. But that's just me. But they'd like Percy Butler, give him a D plus. I didn't even have him draftable, to be honest. Pick 144. This was almost the S plus steal of the draft. I know I keep talking about it. You'll see it coming up real soon. But Sam Howell, quarterback out of North Carolina, I was hoping Seattle would take him. Seattle never took him, and Washington takes him at pick 144 in the fifth. A plus. This is their quarterback of the future. He's going to battle for the starting job this year. He'll win it before week 7, and he won't hit until halfway through year 2. So we won't fully see the best of Sam Howell and the Washington Commanders till year 3. So we shall see how well Sam Howell turns around. And I believe he's going to take this division by storm by year 4. And I think that this is an A-plus pick for the future of this Commanders team. A++. Sam Howell can get it done through the air. I think he has one of the best touch in the draft. And I think that he is a very underrated and underutilized runner at UNC up until his last year, where he had 800 yards last year on the ground, which was by far the most impressive stat by any quarterback comparable to each other in this year's draft, because he doesn't look like it. He doesn't play like it, but he's a runner. He's a track star, man. I gave that an A+ pick. One of the guys that I can't believe fell this far. Pick 149, Cole Turner. They finally take a tight end. No disrespect to Logan Thomas, who I was a big fan out of Virginia Tech at quarterback. But Cole Turner, really athletic tight end out of Nevada. In my opinion, his teammate should have been drafted by the 5th round as well. Carson Strong. Because without Carson Strong, Cole Turner is not Cole Turner. I'll tell you that right now. Gave it an A- pick. He's going to immediately come in and battle for the number 1, despite Logan having back-to-back really good years. I think injury and age is going to really take into consideration for that. So I gave it an A- pick. He's going to come in, and then he's going to be a nice safety blanket for the quarterback up until Sam Howell comes in, and then he'll be his safety blanket. Pick 230, Chris Paul out of Tulsa. Gave it a C- grade. This is probably Tulsa's fourth best offensive lineman, to be honest, and they take him in the 7 C minus. Shot in the dark at an eligible lineman doesn't hurt. Pick 240, Christian Holmes, cornerback out of Oklahoma State. I like Oklahoma State corners for some reason. I think they always can play. We'll see what he can do. I think I'd like to see him in the slot, but we'll see if he can transition to safety. That's why I gave him versatility grade plus boost from a D to a C minus. So I gave the Washington Commanders an overall B minus grade. The Sam Howell and Cole Turner pick really turned it around from maybe a C to a B minus. And now let's move to the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, here's my S plus steal of the draft. You see it right here for the Philadelphia Eagles. I gave him a B plus draft grade, and I'll break down why. At pick 13, Jordan Davis out of Georgia. I love him a lot. He's my 12th overall prospect, but at pick 13, I only gave it a B plus because I think the Eagles probably should have went receiver, but Jameson Williams was snagged out right from under their nose, so that's why they just went with next best. They had the 3 best receivers snagged out in front of them. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and Jameson Williams. So they just take next best thing. Jordan Davis, he's going to be a game wrecker. With Fletcher Cox, most likely not going to survive training camp or preseason cuts or get traded by deadline. I think Jordan Davis is a guy that is going to really plug and play. I think he's going to be a very pass rush or run dependent guy. You're either going to want him to be on the field, third down and pass rush and just use him to eat space, or you're going to want him on the early downs to play run and eat space. So it just depends on what you really want with him. I like him a lot. I think he'll be better in year 2 after a full year. I do think you should, I do think you got to keep, him on a little bit of on a lighter diet. I think I like him a little bit lighter. I want him to be on the field as long as he can, and I want him to be as healthy as much as he can so that he could play what he's supposed to play, a space eater and a game wrecker. B plus value for me personally at 13. Pick 56, they took Cam Jurgens out of Nebraska. I don't know if he's going to play center or, guard for them with the retirement of Brooks, but we'll see. I think he's a really good guy. Early for me in the second. I had him going from the late 3rd to the 4th. So it's just a C plus. I think they just liked him a lot from the draft. I think he's a likable guy. I think he's very good for I think he's a good culture guy later on. I think, he'll really develop as his leader guy. Seems really mature. Give it a C plus grade. But here's the pick that I can finally talk about, the S plus steal of the draft. Steals are only from the 5th round and on, or 3rd round and on. It is Nakobe Dean at pick 83, linebacker from Georgia. He's my S plus guy, ultra competitor, ultra athletic, undersized dog, super leader, just he's that dog on the field that every team needs, and that Philadelphia has been missing for years on end since Brian Dawkins. They haven't had this dog on defense since Brian Dawkins. Fletcher Cox, super good, one of the best defensive tackles in the 2010s of or that I can ever remember. But nobody's got that dog in him like Nakobe Dean. Smart, super confident in his game, plays with a head full of steam, 110 miles an hour. And I think this is the guy that they need for this defense to change from this finesse team to this team that's going to really just hammer it down and start this culture change. I think that the only thing that's going to hold him is potential injury. But hear me out. I think he's going to have the same impact that Tyrann Mathieu did for the Cardinals early in his career when he was that 3rd round pick that just fell and fell and fell. And I think he's going to have the same impact and the same playability that Tyrann did back from 2013 to 2017 for the Cardinals. And then pick 181, Kyron Johnson out of Kansas. This is just another stab at linebacker, just a late round guy. Can't knock him too much. Special teams guy for them, D grade. But Grant Calcaterra retired 2 years ago, came back this past year, came back to SMU, coming back as a 24-year-old prospect, in the 6th round. I picked 198. He's a really good receiving tight end. He's going to plug and play in the slot. You can split him out wide in red zone, goal line, short yardage situations. And I think he's going to be a good little slot chip block guy on crack plays. So good mover, really great receiver. A little bit older of a guy, but I had him draftable in the 2nd round 2 years ago if he came out. Grant Calcaterra, I like him a lot. Gave the Eagles an overall B+ grade. So finally, all you Cowboys fans, yes, I'm giving you the division. Don't want to discredit you. You guys did your due diligence in the drafts, but Cowboys fans, I'm gonna give you the division this year. It's not a strong one, but here we go. I gave the Dallas Cowboys a C+ draft grade, and I'm giving you guys to win the division. At pick 24, the Dallas Cowboys selected Tyler Smith out of Tulsa. He's going to play tackle for you guys. B- grade. I definitely would have taken maybe 3 guys over him, maybe 2. But Tyler Smith, good solid value. I had him coming up in the back end of the 1st, but definitely not to Dallas. Definitely not top 25. But I think he's a great pickup. Tyron Smith hasn't been the same since 2018. I'm sorry, Cowboys fans. He's not been elite. He hasn't even been great. He's barely been a feasible starter since 2018. And it's time to let go. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer, but he's time to let go now. And Tyler Smith is going to learn under him, take under his wings if he has to, take some games out for himself, to rest up and fully come back. But Tyler Smith is going to be a great plug and play tackle. He can start at right tackle for you. But I think he's going to be a future left tackle for Dallas for a long time. Solid B- grade. Sam Williams, though, out of Ole Miss, off-field issues is one of the biggest things. That's why he fell. Super productive, 12 sacks at Ole Miss. One of the best in the SEC last year. I understand the pick, giving it a D+, but it's Randy Gregory all over again. Off-field issues, super productive guy, just all over again. I just don't know if but I liked Randy Gregory a lot personally when he came out. I thought he was going to be the next big thing, but I just don't see it with Sam Williams. I saw a lot of manufactured cover sacks for him, which is nothing's wrong with that. Sacks is still sacks, but Randy Gregory was a little bit more impactful at Nebraska compared to Sam Williams at Ole Miss. But I understand the pickup. Jerry Jones doing his thing. Hope you get better, though. Seen that car accident, man. Shout out to the Cowboys fans. Gave it a D+ grade. We'll see what he can do year 1. Pick 88. I liked it a lot, especially after losing your number 1 receiver, trying to find plug and play and getting your immediate number 3, Jalen Tolbert in the 3rd round. Receiver out of South Alabama. Really good. I thought he was a little bit bigger. I thought he was going to list out at like 6'2", 205. Only 6'1", 195. But I think he's going to immediately come in and play slot. He can also play outside. Really good hands, really good route runner, and really underrated long speed. Pick 129, Jake Ferguson out of Wisconsin, young tight end. Gave it a B grade. Excuse me. You guys did just tag Dalton Schultz, who I like a lot. Excuse me. So whether that means this is a pay for play year or this is a trade tag. So they're going to tag him to trade him, or he's going to play this year and they're going to see if they're going to extend him if he plays well enough. But I like the pick, young tight end. This is the value I had him, 4th to 5th, solid B grade. Pick 155, Matt Woletsko out of North Dakota. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Just one of those small school guys, shot in the not really shot in the dark, but a shot at a later board guy, probably a little higher on their boards because of the meetings with them or the pro workouts. So that's why I give it a solid C. Deron Bland out of Fresno State at pick 167. I'm from Fresno, love Fresno State, but I just don't see it. You took too many DBs in the past couple of years, and there are so many safeties sitting here for you that you haven't taken yet. And yes, there's free agent pickups, but I think a young safety in the 5th, like a Brian Doc, his name Brian Dawkins that plays at Michigan, or a couple of the other guys I mentioned, Like Weatherford out of Miami of Ohio is one of my is my 50th prospect, and he goes undrafted. So I think that, a guy here, that would have been A+ pick. But Deron Bland, corner out of Fresno State, understandable pick. He seems like a Cowboy, sounds like a Cowboy to me. Damone Clark out of LSU, linebacker. I give it a B+ grade. I think he has a chance to really plug and play as a fourth linebacker that's going to battle for the third job on a base defense. They're base 4-3. I like him at LSU. I locked him up in the levels with Quay Walker and Quay Walker and the other linebacker. I liked them up with the other two Georgia linebackers in the same 3rd to 4th range. So B+ here all the way. I just graded it a little low. The linebacker room's a little crowded. So we'll see if he could find some playing time. John Ridgeway out of Arkansas, B- grade, nose tackle, plug and play guy, space eater, like the pickup in the 5th. I give it a B- grade. Devin Harper out of Oklahoma, a little bit undersized, really productive. He's going to battle for a special teams job, which isn't always good. You have 3 starting linebackers ahead of you, and you just drafted 2 more in the 5th and 6th. So we'll see who makes the team, who doesn't. Giving the Dallas Cowboys a solid C+ grade. This is my thoughts. These are based off of my players and my evaluations on the team's players already, situations, schemes, and things like that, and based off of my board. So these grades aren't going to be like NFL analysis, of course, but these guys are the guys that I've watched personally, that I like personally. And I do have you Cowboys winning the division, so hopefully you Cowboys fans tune in for me. Thank you for tuning in the video. Like I said before, if you're new, please click that red subscribe button. Please comment, like, and share this video. Anything is really appreciated. The views, the likes, the comments, the shares. Just get my stuff out, trying to get this thing started. The NFC and AFC South are coming up soon. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the flip.